Orange. Everything about this fruit rich in vitamin C. The orange is one of the foremost consumed fruits in France, which we enjoy in winter since it's mainly found from December to April on our stalls. It's eaten mainly raw for dessert, but it also adds a sweet touch to salads. Characteristics of orange: rich in vitamin C, source of fiber, low in calories, source of calcium and magnesium, stimulates the system. Characteristics of orange: when harvested, the orange can also be a fruit that weighs on the typical 200 grams. An orange features a thick, rough skin that contains very juicy flesh divided into quarters. Differences from related foods: it was long believed that the sour orange and thus the orange belonged to the same botanical species, the second being thought to descend from the first. But modern research indicates that they are two very different species, not only within the flavor of their fruit but in various botanical characteristics. A word from the nutritionist. The orange is rich in vitamins and particularly in vitamin C. To make the foremost of its benefits, peel there and consume its quarters directly. 1 serving corresponds to an orange. Nutritional values for 100 grams of orange. Nutrients quantities: protein 1.1 grams, lipids 0.36 grams, carbohydrates 7.92 grams, water 86.9 grams, fibers 2.2 grams, vitamin C 57 milligrams, vitamin E 0.37 milligrams, beta-carotene 71 micrograms, potassium 151 milligrams, calcium 29.7 milligrams, magnesium 12.4 milligrams. 9 benefits of orange. Why eat it? Orange may be a superb source of vitamin C. Eating oranges will then help stimulate the system and fight against fatigue like winter colds. Orange is rich in flavonoids, antioxidant components that fight against free radicals, responsible for aging of the skin and much of pathologies. The orange contains carbohydrates assimilated to sugars which give energy quickly to the body. Poor in lipids and proteins, the orange can also be a fruit with a coffee calorie intake that's very suitable for folks that want to scale back. Its low fiber content, which is added to soluble fiber, makes it a very interesting ally for limiting the extent of cholesterol within the blood. Thanks to the soluble fibers it contains, orange stimulates digestion gently and reduces digestive disorders. These same fibers help to manage the extent of cholesterol and triglycerides within the blood. Eating oranges, therefore, helps prevent disorder and limits the danger of atherosclerosis. Orange would prevent certain cancers. Consuming citrus fruits would reduce the danger of cancers of the mouth, pharynx, and alimentary tract due to the antioxidants they contain. Thanks to crotons, which may stimulate the assembly of bone cells and stimulate the absorption of calcium, orange is great for your bones. Choosing the right orange. To choose an orange well, it must be firm. Even take care to choose it according to its use. The different varieties on our stalls: there are mainly 3 kinds of orange: light flesh orange, blonde juice orange, and blood orange. Keep well orange is often stored for each week at temperature. You'll also keep it for 10 days within the crisper of the refrigerator. Preparation of orange. How to cook it. The way to matching it: orange and chocolate go perfectly in cakes, sweets, or fondue. Before pouring your flat preparations into the molds, line them with orange slices. Bake within the oven as was common. The juice and zest of the orange add a special note to sauces and dressings and to dishes of vegetables, rice, chicken, fish, seafood, etc. In South America, a dozen whole peeled oranges are boiled for 20 minutes in 1.5 liters of lightly sweetened water, then filtered and poured as soup over pieces of toast and lemon slices. Serve orange wedges as a salad with chopped onion, olives, and oil vinaigrette. Make an orange salsa with red onion, cilantro, garlic, and chili. Function as an accompaniment to meals, as an example with chicken breasts. Orange juice is used within the manufacture of lemonade-type drinks and as a seasoning for fish. In Spain, the meat is coated with it during cooking. In Yucatan, it replaces vinegar. In Egypt and other countries, it's made into wine. History of orange. The term orange to designate the fruit appeared within the 13th century. It comes from the Arabic ranj, itself borrowed from the Sanskrit nagranga, the meaning of which is fruit loved by elephants. The O was appended to the Arabic name by influence of the name of the town of Orange, through which these fruits passed. The orange is native to Southeast Asia, home of the citrus genus, but it isn't known when exactly it had been domesticated. According to a text dating from 2,200 years before our era, it had been already known in China at that time. Like many other plants that were also utilized in medicine, it'll follow the Silk Road to Europe, crossing the Middle East and thus the Center East, where it'll find a climate adapted to its needs. From there, it'll reach the south of Europe, probably within the primary centuries of our era, although there is no trace of its culture on this continent before the 15th century. One thing is surely, its real expansion in southern Europe is that the work of the Portuguese, who brought it back from Asia. Due to intense selection work and thus the event of latest cultivation methods, the Portuguese orange will become the standard of quality and reference throughout Europe. Its popularity was such, in Arab countries, it had been not called ranj to call it Portugal, a reputation which remains attached thereto. At the time of the conquest, the orange will cross the Atlantic with the big rod, the lime, the lemon, and thus the citron. Their seeds are getting to be sown within the West Indies, Mexico, South America, and present-day Florida. From the middle of the 16th century, in America, flourishing orchards are often found altogether places suitable for growing citrus. Today, the orange is the foremost cultivated flowering tree on the planet. Until the 1920s, its fruit was mostly eaten fresh. Then, we market its juice, rich in vitamin C, and, during a couple of decades, the consumption of the latter will far exceed that of the fruit. Within the U.S., 40% of the assembly of orange groves now goes to the preparation of frozen juice concentrate. The byproducts of this transformation, essential oil, pectin, candied bark, pulp, have found many uses within the food industry. For further ecology and environment to produce the flawless oranges that Western consumers demand, citrus growers got to believe in a battery of chemicals. This also explains why fruits sold fresh are much more processed than fruits intended for processing, juice. But the customer, especially the AQ, also wants fruit that has little or no treatment. In Morocco, where 50% to 60% of citrus production is supposed for export, integrated pest management has been experimenting with for several years. This technique consists of releasing at the suitable time auxiliary insects whose role is to limit the populations of pest insects. Chemical intervention is simply done as a final resort. Similar experiments are being administered within the US and Australia. The results indicate that if, within the primary years, the pests remain very numerous, after 3 or 4 years, we manage to require care of their populations below the sting of harmfulness. The Morocco team further noted that despite the initial costs and requirements, this approach had resulted in substantial savings in material, labor, and phytosanitary products. At the highest of the 4th year, the costs of the latter were only a third of what they were initially. As for the fruits, that they had no trace of residue. This approach requires qualified personnel, honest knowledge of insects, both predators and auxiliaries, and endless presence within the orchard. Additionally, pesticides that are used when absolutely necessary should be safe for auxiliary insects, like those of the ladybug family which feed on the eggs or larvae of the various pests.